In 1941, the Soviet occupants were changed by the Nazis, who grounded their policy on racial hatred. Lithuania and other states occupied by Germany experienced the tragedy of an incomprehensible scope. During a few-year period, almost all numerous Jewish community of Lithuania was destroyed. The Ninth Fort occupies an exclusive place in the map of the Holocaust. For the Nazis, it served not only as a prison, but also as a suitable and distant site for the mass murder of peaceful residents. Preparations for the mass murder started at the end of August in 1941. Several hundred Soviet war prisoners were transported to the fort. In the field nearby, they dug trenches of 200 meters in length, 3 meters in width, and 2 meters in depth. During the whole occupation period, 14 such trenches were dug in total. On October 4th, the first mass murder of the Jews from Kaunas ghetto was executed. The Ninth Fort is the only place in Lithuania where not only local but also foreign people of Jewish origin from such European countries as Germany, France, Poland, Czechoslovakia, the Soviet Union were killed. A precise number of the killed people is not known. Generalizing various sources, it is estimated that the total number of victims possibly reached approximately 50,000. It seems that today a more significant issue is the emotional maintenance of the past events in the consciousness of contemporary people rather than a cold and rational specification of the death arithmetic. Thus, no matter how difficult it is important to imagine those awful days. The human destruction technology horrifies by its banal simplicity. Everything was taking place in the field in front of you. A group of half-naked, brutally mistreated victims, men, women, children, and elderly people, were forced to get into or often lie face down on a slushy dirt. Then, scattered shots were stricken, accompanied by terrible shrieks and moans. The killers mainly used simple guns rather than automatic ones. Therefore, the horrifying execution lasted for a longer time compared to shooting with a machine gun or one concentrated salvo. In order to keep pace of the process, not all wounded people were killed. Both moving and also dead bodies were hastily covered first by a thin layer of quicklime and then by ground. This way, one group after another were headed to die. The people, shaking because of harsh weather, were waiting for their turn further away in the prison yard or in the garden. The executioners were sometimes trying to mask the sounds of shooting by leaving a truck with a working engine without a silencer. Nevertheless, most victims perceived their destiny very quickly, and maybe even came to terms with the inevitable giving in to petrifying horror. The clothes or small personal belongings of the victims were left here and there or taken by the executioners or the guards. The executions were committed by German Gestapo officers and soldiers. Lithuanian collaborators from the National Labor Protection Battalion were helping them. In this place, massacre was committed until the last days of the German occupation. When the Soviet occupants returned in August back in 1944, they found unburied bodies of the Nazi victims in the field of mass murder of the Ninth Fort. Sculptor Alfonsas Ambraziūnas was trying to perceive the tragedy of this place and to express it using artistic means of expression. He created the monument to commemorate the Nazi victims. The main aim of the sculpture was to evoke the viewer's feeling that they came to a special place. The surface of reinforced concrete reminds of a graphic artwork. 3 sculptural groups lean towards each other, intersect and intertwine. In the smallest group, one can see helpless people falling down into the grave. In the highest sculptural group on the left, the viewer can see united people standing shoulder to shoulder, trying to escape the death circle and supporting the dying ones. The central part of the monument represents and depicts invincible people who are trying to raise up from the grave pit. The monument is the symbol of the falling and rising world. Thank you very much for participating in this virtual tour. We kindly invite you to visit Kaunas 9th Fort Museum.